morning, everyone. Let me do the rebuttal part first. In response to the first speaker of the affirmative side, he said there is no practical need to possess a gun, but this concept, I'm afraid that is wrong. Because when accidents happen or when tragedies happen, you need a gun to defend yourself, and you need a gun to protect yourself from danger. So there is actually a practical need when you possess a gun. And you claim that possessing gun is dangerous because people will use a gun to kill people. This only applied to criminals because it is dangerous only if the guns are possessed by criminals. And you said that most US people don't have the knowledge about how to use guns, but you know that if the people don't have such knowledge or don't have the basic technical skills, they won't be able to get a gun from the official license, from the official gun dealers, because the government won't give you a license if you don't have basic skills to operate a gun. And we need lessons to teach them after they fulfill the whole courses and they have the basic technical skills. They will possess a gun only if they have been taught. And it is not banning the gun laws to be due, because people do not have knowledge about how to use the gun. If people have the knowledge to use the gun, that means they have the license with them. So if they have a license with them, they will not use the gun to kill people, because the people have been taught. And for the second speaker, you said that people should not have the right to possess gun, and people should not use gun to defend themselves. The government is the one to use gun. But can you assure that when tragedy happens, the government really stands up and protect the peoples? And do you think that the government can protect people before every time tragedy happens? No, because the government is not like Superman, and it cannot save people every time when tragedy happens. You cannot guarantee that the government will go to the criminals and stop the tragedy from happening every time when it is too late. And for the third speaker, you claim that there is a cause and effect relationship between firearm and aggression. But this only applies to criminals, because peaceful people will not become aggressive if they possess a gun. Let me ask you a question. Will you become more aggressive if you possess a gun? Your own personality will not change even if you have a gun. You will not use a gun to shoot people because you have a gun. If you use a gun to shoot people, it's only because you have a desire to shoot people. It's not because of a gun that you possess. And for the fourth speaker, you keep mentioning that the masquerades and possessing guns, there is a direct linkage between them. But do you know that the mass killers are determined and deliberate and dead set on murder, and they plan methodically to execute their victims, and finding the means, no matter what laws or other impediments the state's attempts to place in their way. To them, the will to kill cannot be denied. And possessing firearms in the US is a common and legal behavior. There are many reasons and benefits to possess firearms. Carrying firearms openly is even a deterrent to crime. In fact, Georgia has a documented incident where two members of Georgia carrying their firearms openly late at night in a Waffle House, and they and the waitress were the only persons in a Waffle House when a man walked in. And when their members left, there were several police cars outside with their blue lights on, and the man who walked in was a scout, noticed that their members carrying guns openly and left. He told the others in the car there were two guys with guns inside the Waffle House. The others, who were wearing ski masks, decided to wait for the members to leave in order to rob the Waffle House without resistance. Police on patrol noticed the suspicious actions and arrested them. From this case, we learned that possessing firearms is not only an effective means for self-defense and preventing tragedies from happening, but also a deterrent to crime and a visible symbol of law-abiding citizens exercising their rights. A gun cannot kill or hurt anybody on its own. It is an inanimate object. To believe it is dangerous, it is equivalent to believe objects can kill. The mentally unbalanced people or criminals behind any weapons is the threat to peaceful people. Peaceful people should be allowed to protect themselves from these problems. And you keep mentioning that guns, you keep pointing out that the United States have far higher gun homicide rates than other developed countries because they have the right to possess guns, as well as far more guns in the hands of the population, and far fewer restrictions on the gun. But that does not necessarily prove a cause and effect relationship between a gun and tragedies or criminals. Because let's see an example from Switzerland. Switzerland is an exemplary country with low gun homicide rates. Indeed, the total homicide rate in Switzerland in 2010 was 0.7 per 100,000 inhabitants, compared with 4.2 in the United States. But Switzerland, unlike most of Europe, actually has widespread gun ownership, with an estimated 2 million to 3 million guns in a population of fewer than 8 million, and a thriving gun culture rooted in the tradition of citizen militia. Shooting clubs are common, and target practice is a popular sport, even for children in Switzerland. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, gun laws are considerably more restrictive than in the US, and civilian guns ownership is a paltry 5 per 100 people. Yes, the homicide rate is more than double America's. So there is no cause and effect between, relationship between possessing a gun and crime rate. And as our second speaker said, American citizens should be allowed to defend themselves, especially in more rural and less populated areas of the country. And it is their rights under the Second Amendment, because America is a country with liberty and human rights. They keep emphasizing that people should have their rights doing their own things, only if it's under the legal situation. So this states that actually, if people, they are peaceful people, they are not criminals, they will not use a gun to kill others, and they will, after the government have issued the license to them, they will use the license in the proper way. They will not use the license or misuse the license and misuse the guns to kill people. So that's the end. Thank you.